Waitress fired for helping black entrepreneur. What he does next makes headlines. The diner smelled of burnt coffee and fried bacon, its neon sign flickering outside in the humid Georgia evening. Inside, the air was thick with tension, the kind that makes your skin prickle. Maya Carter, a 23-year-old waitress with tired eyes and a stubborn streak, wiped her hands on her apron. She'd been working at Rosie's diner for 2 years, scraping by on tips and dreams of something better. Tonight, though, something felt off. The regulars were quieter than usual, their glances sharper, and the new face at table 7 was drawing stares. He was a black man in his early 30s, dressed in a tailored suit that looked out of place among the plaid shirts and worn boots. His name was Jamal Harris, a tech entrepreneur from Atlanta, stopping in this small town on his way to a conference. He sat alone, typing furiously on his laptop, a plate of untouched fries beside him. Maya noticed the way the other patrons whispered, their eyes narrowing. She'd grown up here in Elwood, a town where everyone knew everyone, and outsiders, especially black ones, were met with suspicion. Maya approached Jamal's table, her smile genuine but cautious. "Can I get you anything else, sir?" she asked, her voice soft but steady. Jamal looked up, his eyes warm but guarded. "Just some water, thanks. And maybe a quieter spot if you've got one." She chuckled, glancing at the nosy crowd. "Not much chance of that here, but I'll see what I can do." She poured him a glass of water and lingered a moment, noticing the logo on his laptop, a startup she'd read about online, one making waves in sustainable tech. "You're with Greenwave, right? I saw an article about your solar panels." Jamal's face lit up, surprised. "You read that?" "Yeah, that's me. Trying to change the world, one panel at a time." Their conversation was brief but easy, a rare moment of connection in a place that often felt stifling. But as Maya walked back to the counter, she caught the glare of her boss, Rosie Calhoun, a woman whose smile never reached her eyes. Rosie was a fixture in Elwood, her diner the heart of the town's gossip. She didn't like change, and she didn't like Jamal. "Keep your distance, Maya," Rosie hissed, pulling her aside. "Folks don't like his kind around here. You're stirring trouble." Maya's stomach twisted, but she held her tongue. She needed this job. Her mom's medical bills weren't going to pay themselves. Still, something about Rosie's words burned. She'd heard them before, growing up in a town where his kind was code for anyone who didn't fit the mold. She went back to work, but her eyes kept drifting to Jamal, who was now engrossed in a phone call, his voice low but urgent. The trouble started an hour later. A group of regulars, 3 burly men in trucker hats, began taunting Jamal. It started with snickers, then loud comments about city boys who didn't belong. Jamal ignored them, but Maya could see his jaw tighten. When one of the men, a guy named Chet, knocked Jamal's water glass off the table, the diner went silent. "That's enough," Maya said, stepping forward before she could think. She grabbed a rag and knelt to clean the spill, her heart pounding. "You don't get to treat people like that here." Chet laughed, a mean, guttural sound. "Oh, sweetheart, you don't get to make the rules." "Rosie, you gonna let your girl talk like that?" Rosie stormed over, her face red. "Maya, back off. You're out of line." But Maya didn't back down. "He's a customer, same as you. He's done nothing wrong." The diner erupted in murmurs. Jamal stood, his voice calm but firm. "I don't want trouble. I'll pay and go." "No," Maya said, her voice shaking but resolute. "You don't have to leave because of them." She turned to Rosie. "This isn't right, and you know it." Rosie's eyes narrowed. "You're done, Maya. Turn in your apron. You're fired." The words hit like a punch. Maya froze, her hands trembling as she untied her apron. The diner was a blur of faces, some smug, some shocked, some avoiding her gaze. Jamal stepped forward, his voice low. "You don't have to do this for me." But Maya shook her head. "It's not just for you. It's for what's right." As she walked out, head high despite the tears burning her eyes, she didn't see the figure in the corner booth. Old Miss Clara, the town's reclusive librarian, had been watching the whole scene. Clara, who rarely spoke but knew everyone's secrets, slipped out after Maya, her steps quiet but purposeful. The next morning, Elwood buzzed with gossip. Maya's firing was the talk of the town, and Rosie's diner was packed with folks eager to weigh in. Some called Maya a troublemaker. Others whispered she was brave. Jamal, though, wasn't done with Elwood. He'd spent the night in his hotel room, not sleeping but planning. By noon, a news van from Atlanta pulled into town, cameras rolling. Jamal stood outside Rosie's diner, a megaphone in hand, addressing a growing crowd. "I came here to eat, not to fight," he said, his voice steady but powerful. "But what happened last night wasn't just about me. It was about a young woman who lost her job for standing up to hate. I'm here to make sure her story is heard." The crowd murmured, some nodding, others crossing their arms. Then came the twist no one expected. Miss Clara stepped forward, her frail frame belying the fire in her eyes. She held up a stack of old newspaper clippings, letters, and photos. "Rosie's been running this town like her personal kingdom for years," Clara said, her voice cutting through the noise. "She's bullied anyone who didn't fit her idea of right. I've kept quiet too long." Clara revealed Rosie's history of discriminatory practices, from refusing service to black customers decades ago to pressuring employees to stay silent. The crowd gasped as Clara shared stories of others who'd been pushed out of the diner for daring to speak up. The news crew ate it up, and by evening the story was viral. Jamal didn't stop there. He offered Maya a job with Greenwave, not out of pity but because he'd seen her courage and quick mind. "You've got a spark," he told her. "We need people like you to change the world." Maya hesitated, still reeling from the whirlwind. But when she accepted, it wasn't just for the job, it was for the chance to be part of something bigger. Rosie's diner, meanwhile, faced a boycott. Locals, inspired by Maya and Clara, began eating at the rival cafe across town. Rosie's empire crumbled, not with a bang but with the quiet exodus of a community waking up. Months later, Maya stood at a Greenwave event, her mom in the audience, beaming despite her wheelchair. Jamal introduced her as the newest member of his team, and the crowd applauded. Elwood was changing, slowly, painfully, but surely. Clara, now a local hero, sat in the front row, her eyes twinkling with pride. The story of Maya, Jamal, and Clara wasn't just about a diner or a firing. It was about the courage to stand up, the power of unexpected allies, and the slow, messy work of justice. It reminded everyone that change starts with one voice, one choice, one act of defiance against hate. What do you think? Where does justice begin in a community divided by prejudice?